And just then, her Prince Charming's lower body morphed into a snake. Olma became terrified. She could not understand what had happened to her handsome husband. The man then laughed at confused Olma. A long time ago, there lived a brave and affluent hunter in a far-away village. He had a very beautiful daughter named Olma. The hunter was known for his bravery and hunting prowess, both in his village and the neighboring villages. The hunter had warmed the people's hearts by killing the wildest of animals in the jungle. In this village, it is forbidden to kill a snake, as the snake was said to have favored their forefathers in the past. And if by any means the snake is killed, whether by mistake or not, the killer will have to perform a burial ceremony for the snake and bury it like human to appease the gods. And if that is not done, the snake's spirit will avenge its death. One evening, the hunter went to set his trap in the forest, and the next morning he went to check his trap and then found out that his trap had caught the snake, which their forefathers had worshipped. Olomma's father does not know what to do, as he doesn't want it to be in records that someone from their family had ever killed the snake. Having thought of this, he buried the snake, kept the secret, and continued his life as though nothing happened. Years passed, and Oloma had come up to a marriageable age. Suitors from both her village and neighboring villages started coming to seek for her hand in marriage. Oloma denied every suitor that came her way, including the prince of her village, access to marry her. She told her father that none of the men has been able to capture her heart. She vowed to marry any man who is able to capture her heart, be he from their village or a far-away kingdom. Oloma told her father that her prince would be the best-looking man in the entire world. He would be strong and perfect in every way, and capable of loving her properly. So Oloma continued to reject suitors, at which her father was very much grieved. One day, there was commotion within the village. What could be happening? People inquired. Not long after, the news got to everyone that a handsome man had been seen in the stream. The young man was said to have been better looking than any of the natives. Oloma, on hearing this news, rushed to the stream at once. And on her way to the stream, she saw the most handsome man she had ever set her eyes on and fell in love immediately. The stranger was delighted to have met with such an African goddess. From that day, they became friends, and Oloma introduced him to her father. The handsome man immediately asked his consent to marry Oloma. At first, the hunter refused, as he did not wish his daughter to marry a stranger. But at last, he consented. The stranger lived with Oloma for 2 days in her father's house, and then said he wished to take his wife back to his hometown, which was far off. To this, Oloma readily agreed, as he was such a fine man, but her father tried to persuade her not to go. However, being very headstrong, she made up her mind to go, and they started off together. It was a sad day for the hunter. After walking for several days, Oloma and her husband crossed the border between the spirit land and the human land. Immediately they set foot into the spirit land. She began to hear strange voices, and just then her Prince Charming's lower body morphed into a snake. Oloma became terrified. She could not understand what had happened to her handsome husband. The man then laughed at confused Oloma and confessed that her father had killed his wife and buried her like a nobody. He told Oloma that he was a snake and had morphed into a human to come to her village and ask for her hand in marriage, so he could avenge the death of his dear wife. Oloma wanted to return home, but the snake could not allow this and warned that if she attempted to run away, he would swallow her whole. Hearing this, Oloma continued the journey with him. When they arrived at the snake's tiny hut made of sticks and settled with him and his old mother, who was very old, quite incapable of doing anything, she could only crawl about. Oloma tried her best to help her. She served her eggs and live chicken every day. The old creature was very grateful for these attentions and soon became quite fond of Oloma. One day, the old creature felt very sorry for Oloma and decided to help her. She promised to send a message to her father to appease the gods. And so she sent a parrot to Oloma's village to tell the father how the snake he had killed and buried without the knowledge of anyone has been the reason for her daughter's distant marriage, and how it was the dead snake's husband that married her daughter Oloma. The parrot flew to Oloma's village and conveyed the message. The hunter was heartbroken to have heard how his misdeed has caused problems for his only child Oloma. And with a broken heart, he ran to the palace and told the king all that had happened, and he pleaded for forgiveness. The king forgave him, and the villagers together performed a proper burial rites for the snake to rest her soul. Sad Oloma was in the spirit land, nursing the old creature and her son. And now that she was aware of her father's mistake, she kept pleading for lenience. Seeing that his late wife's soul was now at rest, decided to let Oloma go. After all, she had no hand in his wife's death and common burial arrangements. The snake freed Oloma. She got home and was welcomed by the villagers in an open ceremony. From that day henceforth, no one killed the snake again, as Oloma's story was passed to youngsters and strangers from generation to generation.